Hello, everyone. I am here coming at you live from wherever I happen to be today. So, I am indeed talking about Suda51 with someone who has requested this particular live stream. So, let's see here. Let me see if I can get this going. This was, of course, brought on by the final DLC pack of Travis Strikes Again, which was a lot more interesting than I thought. Let's see, is that it right? Travis Strikes Again, in essence, was a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. It offered a lot of insight into, more into the lore and background of certain characters, including Shinobu. Henry makes an appearance, and they do, of course, set up No More Heroes 3. So I was I was very much interested in talking about it live with the fans and people who love Travis Strikes Again and No More Heroes fans. And Travis Strikes Again, in essence, seems to feel a lot like it is pushing the envelope or crossing over a lot of these classic Suda franchises. Of course, Travis Strikes Again incorporates elements from the Silver Case, from Shadows of the Dam, from both No More Heroes games, from Killer 7, like all sorts of stuff, a lot of which, unfortunately, I have not played. Like a lot of Suda's earlier work has not really released in North America, been re-released in North America on Nintendo consoles in years. It is just extremely difficult to get your hands on some of these releases. And I'm hoping with the release of Travis Strikes Again and the return to more smaller. Hang on. Ah, there we go. I think that did it. Okay. Yep, I did that. Yep. So Travis Strikes Again feels a lot like a step in the right direction for Suda. I know a lot of some of the poser Suda fans out there, the pretendo Suda fans, you could say, the Suda51 equivalent of Suda fans, of pretendos. I know a lot of those people have been very, very critical of Travis Strikes Again, considering like the budget cuts and just how indie it is, how it's not super mainstream, man. The camera angle, like everything about it is very, very off-putting to these people, and that's something I think I kind of want to talk about today. Is just um, huh.
Hello.
Yeah, hello there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me? Oh, can you not hear me? Huh. Huh. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I have a special guest on tonight, so we're trying to get this set up. Yeah, yeah. My microphone says it's connected, unmuted. Let's see. Maybe I just gotta. Uh, Technical issues. These are always fun. There we go. Let's see if this works. All right. Can you hear me now? Hmm. Hello? Yep, yep. It says, I think it says my voice is going through, right? Yeah, yeah. Nintendo acquiring Suda51 or Grasshopper manufacturer. I think that is very much on the table. Something I would highly suggest Suda do because it's becoming more and more obvious, man, as time goes on that like every other publisher out there is inherently toxic to the kind of creativity and uniqueness that makes specific creators shine. You know what I mean? Like we've seen this with Suda51, we've seen this with Platinum Games, we've seen this with even smaller studios like Silicon Knights and Factor 5. Once they leave Nintendo, they go way, way, way downhill. So yeah, with Travis Strikes Again in particular, um, to me, it was a game that got a lot of unwarranted backlash before it was properly released.
Yeah, well, people are expecting No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, yeah. No More Heroes 3. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of it.
Yeah, he didn't say it was No More Heroes 3, though. People just assumed it.
Yeah, yeah. People just assumed No More Heroes 3. That's what everybody was calling it. Well, they said the title wasn't decided yet. So everybody was just expecting another typical No More Heroes game. Like, in the vein of the first two, because we've never gotten a No More Heroes spinoff before. And when it was revealed to be something different, people got up all up. That was like very bad press for them, I think. A lot of people were kind of put off by that because it wasn't what people were expecting. And the fact that it was like a top-down game, that kind of hurt it too, I think. At least before pre-release, yeah. What were you
Now,
saying?
I can understand being a bit skeptical, but right when I seen Suda was directing and writing it, that put all my fears aside.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I was never one of the people who were critical. Like, I think it was the more casual fans who were kind of put off by it. Like people who don't understand what the problems with modern Suda games have been. Like the fact that he simply hasn't been directing anything since the original No More Heroes. Like seeing him return in and of itself was like a very, very big deal for me. I was super hyped. I was defending this game to a certain extent before it came out, and now that it has, and now that it's like complete, and we've gotten all the DLC. Like I love this game. Like I've said this before, but this game is fantastic.
Yeah, one of my favorite games to come out this year. I
Oh
like
yeah,
how the story has multiple layers to it since it relates to real life as well.
yeah. I wanted to talk about that actually. The multiple layers to it. Like my first time through Travis Strikes Again, I did not really appreciate the multiple layers to it. You know what I mean?
Michelle,
Like when I first played
like,
Travis, huh?
oh, I got to Shells of the Damned, the one part in the
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, for
That's when
me,
he starts hitting.
okay, for me personally, playing through Travis Strikes Again, I was mostly thinking about how it ties into the old No More Heroes games and the other Suda games as a whole. I wasn't really thinking about the whole meta narrative to it. You know, like how the Shadows of the Dam level is supposed to mirror Suda's troubles with like um, working with EA and stuff like that. We actually have a developer coming out and calling EA garbage in an actual video game, which is fantastic to me.
Yeah, and also that one guy in the Trevor Strikes Back segment of that game that Travis beats up, he has the same name as the CEO of EA.
Yeah. Like I did not notice that. Like I had to have someone point it out to me because I don't know who all these EA executives are. I don't care. That they're just faceless corporate entities. They're nobody to me.
Okay, so what do you think of Killer Marathon?
The final level. Yeah. It was really good. Like a lot of people I think wrote off Travis Strikes Again as not being a very fun game to actually play, but playing through the marathon level, playing the base game as a whole, like I enjoyed it like quite a lot. It is a lot of fun to play. Like again, this is a game that has layers to it. Like again, you can appreciate the story, you can appreciate the gameplay. Like the marathon level was a lot of fun, very very challenging, very different, and I just really appreciated it.
Yeah, I really liked how Silverface, he was pretty mad about being relegated to DLC.
Oh yeah. I saw that. I don't. Yeah. I saw that in game. Yeah, that was great. I love that.
Okay, so should we go over the base story first, or the meta narrative?
I think. Yeah. We definitely need to start with Travis Strikes Again. I guess we should just talk about both because they kind of intertwine a little bit. I don't really know where to start because again, this is actually a very complicated game to talk about because there's a lot going on. You need to be familiar with a ton of other Suda properties. You need to know a lot of this stuff. You need to I don't know. You need to be invested essentially, and it's kind of difficult to even the opening, one of the reasons I was not exactly when I first played the game, it just kind of throws you into it, right? Like you're just expected to know who Batman is. You're expected to like know what his motivations for coming after Travis are. You're supposed to like know everything about that. And then like it's sort of immediately brushed aside in favor of this stuff with like Dr. Juvenile. And I heard critics bring this up as like a criticism against the game because like on the surface, it doesn't seem like the game does a lot with the idea of like Travis and Badman and like them, overcoming their differences to work together.
Yeah. Well, the game isn't really made for newcomers.
Yeah. That was my argument too. Like, it's not a game for newcomers. It's a game for like established fans. And I don't know. Like, a part of me kind of wishes it was a bit more newcomer friendly, because again, it feels like a lot of people kind of wrote this game off for all the wrong reasons. Like, just being a budget game, just for not being as violent as the last two, for I know all the changes it made.
So, one of the things I really love about this game is how Dr. Juvenile and to a certain extent Travis is a self-insert of Suda himself.
Oh yeah. That's very well handled. Yeah, this game does so much to progress Travis's character and to really expand him past this past what he was in No More Heroes 1, essentially.
Yeah, he's not just some loser otaku anymore.
Well, he still kind of is, but like, it's interesting, like, it's a different take on the idea.
He's more mature with it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but he's still not perfect though. Like I brought this up in my review of the the final chapter of Travis Strikes Again, the one where we see Jean, right? The daughter, confirmed to be Travis's daughter after all this time. It's finally confirmed. He kind of blows her off, doesn't he? Like, he's
like, I'll just be back in a month.
Yeah, I'll be back in a month. And I'm just like, who says that to their kid? And it's kind of interesting. It's a lot like Travis's relationship with Sylvia in that way, where he's very interested in her, but like, he doesn't really. It's presented in a really strange way, where they sort of have this they're very upfront about like the very sexual nature of the relationship, right? Where with Jean, it's like Travis likes her, he respects her, he's happy to see her, but like, he doesn't know how to be like a father to her. That's the impression I got.
Yeah, and on a side note, why would you marry your brother's ex-wife?
Yeah, I know. Like, holy shit, that is just like, whoa, dude. That's one of the weird things, the weird incestuous overtones in this series, man. Like, first off, what is with Travis's sexual history? Okay, like, we know he's banged at least 2 people, right? Like, we know, presumably he fucked Jean, his half sister. Presumably, we're not sure. We don't even know the nature of the relationship yet. They kind of just glaze over that. Like, we know Travis was in love with her, but we don't know like under what context. We know he wasn't aware she was actually his half sister.
It's a Luke and Leia situation.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's like Luke and Leia from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, sort of. Yeah. This series has a lot of Star Wars references. Actually, Travis Strikes Again has a ton of pop culture references in general. Like, did you find that segment where Henry compares himself to Thor as funny as I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. His little brother, he's a real dick. It's just like, yeah, it was great. I loved that. Henry is just, yeah, Henry's. We're jumping to the end here, but I think the really interesting bits are near the end. Yeah, after the whole. The first couple of levels, right, where you get to start learning more about what's going on. Henry himself is completely changed in this game. Like, he's a member of some cult, the Order of the Emerald Knight, I think he called it. Right? Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So he's part of this weird cult group, and like, he comes after Travis for some reason, which is really strange considering like No More Heroes 2, he's like actually helping Travis. For some reason, they're not really fighting anymore, and now they're like fighting again for some reason. I don't even know. Like, it's.
Well, the game says that Henry changed his personality.
Yeah.
And his hairstyle. But I don't see how his hair changed too much.
Yeah. Well, they don't show him in a model, so like some of the portraits look kind of off, right? They don't look accurate to like how the characters are actually supposed to look. Like, we know Jean the cat is supposed to be really chubby, right? She gained all that weight back from No More Heroes 2, apparently. We know she's supposed to be chubby, but in that like character portrait in like the visual novel segments, she looks like adorable.
Yeah, she looks like an anime.
Yeah, like an anime cat. And she talks too. Well, I think the talking is canon, but I don't know. Like, yeah,
the talking comes from another Suda game, the Silver Case.
yeah.
Well, in one of the endings, the main character meets this guy. His initials are TT. He has a talking cat and he drives a motorcycle.
Yeah. Like I have not played that one. I've been told that. I think a lot of these elements are kind of going over people's heads because a lot of it is really subtly implemented. Like a lot of people just aren't aware of like how the silver case is tied into this game. Like I'm told the silver case has a lot to do with like the overall plot to this game, but unfortunately I wasn't able to pick up on it because I haven't played the silver case. It has not released on a Nintendo console ever, I believe. So I've just never gotten around to it.
Yeah, I gotta get to playing the silver case too.
Yeah.
Like the silver case actually has a like the what's his name? Yuhari, the guy with the weird eye in the visual novel segments. He's a guy. He's the main character from the silver case.
Yeah. I was told that. Yeah. So he has some sort of like it like does more stuff with him too. I'm told. Like apparently. Yeah. Again, this game needs to be re-released because I really want to play it after Travis Strikes Again. I might have to actually go through these visual novel segments again after playing the Silver Case and everything else I need to play to really pick up on all this stuff. Like Travis Strikes Again actually makes me want to look at some of the visual novels Suda has written because those are extremely niche, even like in Japan, let alone here where they haven't been properly released. I'm told. I'm not really sure exactly how this ties in. Like, Badman is actually a character from the Suda51, the Killer 7 tie-in novel that I never read, graphic novel I never read.
Oh yeah, he's on the same police force as Dan the Man.
Yeah, Dan the Man. Was he really? Yeah. I was told the reason I never read this graphic novel, even though I love Killer 7, like I was told it conflicted with the final release of Killer 7 in certain ways. Like it doesn't mash up like canon-wise. Like they give an explanation for the God Hand that doesn't fit in with the Killer 7 lore. So I'm not really sure. At the time, I thought like it was something written by like some Capcom executive that didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. But apparently it's canon after all. I don't know.
I don't think Suda really cares about canon too much.
Does he? I don't know, man. Like it feels like he does. Like going into this game, like everything I do know, like about Travis, about like the Killer 7, about Shadows of the Damned, it all meshes up really, really well with stuff that's I know has happened before. Like it's different, but it's a good kind of different. It feels like someone who really respects the source material. That's actually one of the meta themes of the game, right? Dr. Juvenile, has to accept that some of the games she made was not quite what she wanted them to be, but that's actually okay. She just has to like accept that, which of course relates to Suda's relationships with his games, where a lot of his titles, never were released or had major changes during development or were not as good as he wanted. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it all ties into the kill the past theme of his games.
Yeah. That's another thing. That's one of the things with meta narrative that I personally don't understand is that like the kill the past theme. Like people keep bringing that up, but I've never picked up on that personally.
Yeah, well, basically it just means that the past happened. You got screwed over. It happened. You just got to move on and deal with and continue your life.
Yeah. People keep saying that. I personally have never picked up on that. Like maybe it's just not in the games I've played. Like maybe it's in like the earlier games. I'm told it was implemented in No More Heroes 1, but like that's just not the theme that I picked up by playing that one game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, the original No More Heroes. We're jumping around a lot here, but the original No More Heroes was a lot about like embracing who you are and like going out and doing what you want to do and sort of living life the way you want to do it, and sort of just embracing your nerd, embracing like things that society may find to be unacceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Moe
Uh,
obsessing over anime, real anime girls.
yeah,
Like
sure.
Travis does.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, but also, what's interesting about Travis is that he's an otaku nerd, but he's actually a bit of a Chad too.
yeah, very. Yeah, that's the thing that No More Heroes does really, really well. Like he is very, yeah, he actually goes out and accomplishes what he wants to accomplish. You know, like he's very assertive in that way. That's one of the things that makes him stand out from like other characters, right? Like he does all of this stuff that like society should deem to be unacceptable, right? Like, you know, he goes out and kills people. He has like all these anime statues in his room, and like he still goes after like, you know, openly sexually pursues Sylvia. You know, someone who's like definitely one of the most attractive women you could find out there. You know, like what is all the shit she does? She's like exotic, she's foreign, she has that like crazy sexy accent. She's like some crazy yoga pro or something like that.
She's a Stacy.
Yeah, no, I would say okay. People, okay, like I don't think Stacy is as defined as Chad. Stacy, and I see Stacy's as being like these really, um, I guess she could be a Stacy. Yeah, the idea is what I mean is that like Sylvia is very, very, very desirable. You know what I mean? Like probably will be for like the rest of her life. You know, because she's just so physically fit and
She's out of his league, but he still pursues her anyway.
Yeah. He still does it and does it in a way that's like may actually work, or at least it seems. Like she keeps leading him on. Like she keeps implying. Like she's very dismissive of him, which is about how you would expect this to go. But like she keeps implying that it may actually happen, and towards the end, she kind of like escalates, like begins to imply that like she actually really wants him. You know what I mean? Which is not something you would expect to happen to someone like Travis.
Yeah, because Travis is an alpha male. He sets aside his goals and achieves them.
Yeah. And he's like so confident too. Like there's this scene with Holly Summers, right, where like she's speaking to him, like he's confronting her on the beach, right, and she starts going with this. What does she say exactly? She's like, it's when they first talk. I have not played the original, so like I cannot remember these specific lines. Well, she basically starts asking him all these like poignant questions, right? Like she asks him specifically if he knows fear, and he immediately responds with like, "I've never felt it," and it's just it's meant. Holly clearly means this as a way to like try and intimidate him, but like it doesn't bother him at all. Like he immediately goes after her anyway, and doesn't give a shit. Like it's not until she dies that he like shows any kind of weird. He has these really weird emotional reactions to things that makes him like stick out from other characters. Like he's not intimidated by her at all, but like he's extremely upset when she kills herself.
Yeah, that's when you actually start caring about other human life.
Yeah. Just because he kind of wanted to fuck Holly in the end. Well, this is the thing No More Heroes 1 does, is that like it tends to associate violence with sex. So like Travis has no problem killing other men. Like he just does it. Like no problem, no hesitation. He spares Shinobu, and who is a woman, like a young girl, and he tries to like brush it off as being like, he just
fight you when you get stronger.
Yeah. He tries to brush it off as like some cliche anime line, And then like he fights Holly, and then like Holly calls him out on it. Like she addresses the fact that he can't kill a woman, like which seems to imply that despite his bravado, he doesn't necessarily know how to interact with women and like what he wants out of a real relationship, right? Like he's pursuing Sylvia purely out of like a sexual desire, but he doesn't really have an interest in her besides that. Like all of their conversations are either about like killing people or what's going to happen after he becomes number one, in which she presumably is going to fuck him.
Yeah. Well, I just remembered something about another cool thing about Trevor Strikes Again.
Hmm?
In the final VN segment of TSA, when he fights Death Metal Jr., it's like his first fight with the
yeah. I noticed that too. Yeah. It ties back into the beautiful, the opening of the first game like really well. Like he meets Sylvia. He apparently owns Death Metal's mansion now. So like they fight by the pool, like which is of course right where he fought Death Metal in the first game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, really good. It seems like No More Heroes 3 is building itself to be more like the original in style and tone. And like Travis Strikes Again is very similar to the original in style and tone, which is of course not at all what No More Heroes 2 tried to do.
No More Heroes 2 is pretty much a caricature of the first No More Heroes.
Yeah. Like it has everything the original has, but like doesn't have the substance behind it to back it up, to make it really special.
It's what people thought the first one was, but
it's the first game taken at face value, right? Like it doesn't have, the narrative depth, it doesn't have the characterization, it doesn't have like the meta narrative, it doesn't have, even really an overarching theme or plot. Like it's entirely about Travis killing this guy for killing this guy, and that's about it. Like it just does not seem.
Yeah, just a revenge story.
Yeah, just really straightforward revenge story, which doesn't really fit in with what the original tried to do, right? When it was just like this really complex narrative about this guy who wants to become number one, right? It doesn't have the same kind of personality. The bosses aren't as interesting. I think everything except maybe the raw gameplay itself is kind of a downgrade. Is there anything in No More Heroes 2 you think is better than the original?
The music was really good.
Yeah, the music is great. The vocal tracks, yeah, I love the music. I like the gameplay. I do like the game in general, but I do think like it needs to be said that the original was better.
It's like Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2. Like Bayonetta 2 is good, but not. It's like a step forward and 2 steps back.
I think No More Heroes 2 is better than Bayonetta 2. Like I don't like Bayonetta 2 at all. Do you know that about me? Like I am very critical of that game. Yeah.
I know you didn't like it more than the first game.
Yeah. Like I guess it is pretty similar. In the end, I like No More Heroes 2 in spite of all its problems, and I mean, I 100%ed Bayonetta 2. Like I think I'm a bit too harsh on that. Like I'm comparing it to like literally one of my favorite action games of all time. Well, I guess it's the same deal with No More Heroes 1, but yeah, like it doesn't have the same kind of problem. Like it loses a lot of its personality, its charm. Like
and also because both the games switched directors too.
Yeah, that's very noticeable. I think that's the actual problem is that like no one can make a Suda game without Suda's direct involvement, right? You can't have the same kind of quality of everything. Like you can't have everything meshed together as well without his involvement.
Yeah. Just like how Travis told his daughter that he'll be back in a month. And approximately 1 month from now is going to be E3.
yeah. People brought that up. I'm not sure if people are reading too much into that or whether Suda really is that much of a mad genius. But yeah. No More Heroes 3. or the Sudaverse, or whatever is coming directly next. Like, it really could be anything, because Travis Strikes Again seems to be building up to a lot of new projects. Like,
Shadows of the Dam too.
Yeah. They suggested a port, a remaster, a remake, or a sequel in that game. I'm not sure if like they're going to do all three. If they're going to do that, like both of those, or they're going to make, I don't know, one or the other, or whether like something is in pre-production, or whether they're just trying to evaluate what people would want. I don't know.
It's gonna be what the original game was supposed to be. The horror game.
Yeah, that would be neat as shit. Like, what was the original Shadows of the Dam supposed to be like? It was something about like shadows.
The Kuriyami.
Hang on, I'm googling this because I don't remember exactly what it was supposed to be. Okay.
I think it's about this guy who.
Yeah, it was neat as shit from what I remember.
I forgot exactly, but it sounded really cool. And Shinji Mikami's co-directing too.
Yeah, Shinji Mikami worked on it. Like, it plays a lot like Resident Evil 4. I really like the gameplay in Shadows of the Dam. Like, I'm not saying that game is bad. I actually really like that game. Probably my favorite of the new Suda games, I would say. Like, post No More Heroes. Yeah, I ended up on Reset Era looking up Shadows of the Damned facts, and I'm kind of this is kind of unfortunate, but because Reset Era is the worst. But the game went through 5 drafts before being accepted by the suits at EA, each making significant changes to the story. Some of the story drafts were shot down by EA before Suda had even managed to tell the suits the introduction of the stories. Grasshopper was pressured by EA to have Garcia start with a gun because Westerners are about guns. EA informed Grasshopper that there's this thing called an elevator pitch in America, and if you can't tell your story in the length of an elevator ride, Hollywood won't use it. Yeah, I'm sure that has nothing to do with why Hollywood is garbage. This forced Suda.
Imagine explaining Killer 7 in elevator ride.
What?
Imagine explaining the whole of Killer 7 in
I know, right? Like, imagine stepping into an elevator with like an EA executive and being like, yeah, I had this game idea about this schizophrenic assassin who killed a bunch of people, absorbed their personalities, and goes on missions for the government to like take care of these terrorists that like invisible terrorists that suffer from this disease that makes them explode. Like, imagine that. That's just ridiculous. Okay. This forced Suda to completely scrap all of his initial ideas and had Johnson the Talking Skull replace Paula and make the game a fairy tale like Lupin 3's The Castle of Princess Peach and Mario.
Oh, yeah. Garcia was going to be a little girl that talked to, well, I think he lived inside Garcia's gun.
Really? I did not know that. I don't think I heard that. Like, I'll be honest here. I really love Paula in Shadows of the Dam. Like, she's one of my favorite things in that game. Like, going to rescue her. Like, I don't think in my entire life I've ever felt the need to rescue someone as badly as I did in Shadows of the Dam, because like she's getting tortured all the time. She's like getting murdered. I remember that scene where like she's being dragged through the water. Like, it's genuinely horrifying.
Yeah.
Without Mikame there to shield him, EA would probably have more things to be cut. Okay, a few choice quotes from Suda51. Shadows of the Dam was going to be a very different game than the one that came out, he laments. That game went through about 5 different versions as we got closer to a game that EAP, is that EA, could accept. For example, originally when Garcia took out his gun and looked through the laser sight, it was ringed with flowers. And then around the circle of flowers were little leaping bunnies. It was very cute, but the EA team was like, what on earth is this? Those meetings felt like court interrogations. They told us that Westerners are about guns, so give him a gun. And the direction of the project turned 180 degrees. EA is a really macho company, and we argued with them as we developed it. Their demands were really strong. We ended up drafting the scenario 5 times before it was completed. In the end, each was so unique that it felt like I had basically written 5 different games. In the very final 5th draft, it turned into a love story. EA informed us there's this thing called an error. We already read that. Yeah. I wish it went more into what the other versions were actually like. Yeah. Expecting Reset Era to give you any useful information, I was kind of.
Well, now we can look forward to playing as Johnson, going to the 4th dimension, saving Garcia in the Shells of the Damned.
Well, that's assuming it's going to be exactly the same as it was like presented in Travis Strikes Again. I imagine it would be, but things might change. I'm optimistic it would be. I personally would like to see Suda's original vision realized, like maybe make the little girl Paula or whatever. I don't know. Like tie it into the original game. Like don't make the original game non-canon or anything like that. But try and make the original idea happen, like I don't really want a rehash of Shadows of the Damned, like I don't think that's the sort of game that can really happen again. I don't know, what's EA's relationship with it? Like, do they own the IP? Like, are they going to be involved again?
No, Grasshopper completely owns the IP.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Some initiative EA had back then to get publish a bunch of indie games.
Yeah, so this was one of them. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Travis Strikes Again. I don't know. I was kind of confused about the whole copyright aspect of it because, like, you see a lot of these characters that were like published by different companies. Like, you see the Killer 7, I believe, are owned by Capcom. So Suda somehow convinced Capcom to put the Killer 7 in the game, put Dan Smith in the game.
Yeah, Capcom completely owns Killer 7.
Yeah. So they got that in like that's just so baffling to me. And Suda's going to have to go through them if he's going to make a proper revision to Killer 7, like to actually finish the game, because that game is indeed unfinished.
Yeah, I don't think Capcom would care too much about that. I don't see a reason why they would say no.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they say. Like, again, it's Capcom. They've been making shady. I don't know. Like, I feel like we don't know a lot about what their culture is like, so they might have some reason for it. But
yeah, there's a lot of industry politics that go on that we never really hear about.
Yeah. Like, we don't really have any real idea why there aren't a whole ton of third-party games coming to Nintendo consoles. Like, people always make up excuses, but you don't really see the whole story. I think it would be something behind the scenes, I think, that would cause it not to happen.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Like, certain developers have certain allegiances with other people, and they hold grudges for things that happened a long time ago, but now we're really getting off topic.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to Travis Strikes Again for a moment here. To get back on topic, because I guess this is kind of revolving around this. What are all of the games that are acknowledged in Travis Strikes Again? Like, I noticed Lollipop Chainsaw was not mentioned at all, and I think that's because Warner Brothers owns that IP, or maybe Suda doesn't really care for it, or he wasn't directly involved. I know.
I think there was someone said the name Juliet or mentioned her in one of the Travis Strikes Back sequences, but
was she mentioned? I was looking out for her, but I didn't see her. Like, I would love. Okay, I don't like Lollipop Chainsaw. It's probably my all-time least favorite Suda51 game. It's also the one that sold the most. Go figure. I don't like Lollipop Chainsaw, but I love Juliet. Like, Juliet is extremely likable and just, I don't know, just an interesting. I wanted to see her in a crossover. You know what I mean? Even if I don't like her game, and it's kind of disappointing that I didn't see her.
Yeah, I think she was mentioned only. I think only her name was mentioned. But I don't even remember that happening.
Yeah.
But I read about it inside someone else's Discord though.
Yeah, like if it happened, I would have noticed. Like I was looking out for that. Like again, Mondo is in it, like from Killer is Dead. I'm told he acts more like a different version of the character, not how he was in Killer is Dead. Like I don't really understand Killer is Dead. I didn't care for it enough. I just. Do you like Killer is Dead? Do you know anything about that one?
Yeah, I played Clear's Dead. I thought it was okay,
Yeah.
but I think he was trying too hard.
Yeah, it was like Killer 7's No More Heroes 2. Like it kind of felt like it was going for the same thing, but kind of failed at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are things I like about that game, like Mondo's voice, but everything else is just yeah, it's just not very memorable to me. I didn't care for it at all in the long run. Yeah, but he's in Travis Strikes Again. He has a line. He kills Dracula or something like that, who's apparently still alive and has a death ball inside him for some reason. I don't know. Like that seems to imply that Mondo, like Travis says, he wants to see him again. So the implication of that is that like Mondo is going to be involved in No More Heroes 3 or the Sudaverse in some fashion, and I'm just kind of surprised that like that was one of the major characters they picked, Mondo specifically.
Well, yeah, this is the This came out around Russ Tucker's 20th anniversary.
Oh, Travis Strikes. Yeah, I heard that. This is an anniversary title. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of callbacks, references to a whole bunch of Suda games.
Yeah.
Like that in the opening to Killer Marathon, which is one lady who has an eye patch, and she's fighting Silverface. She's from I think Twilight Syndrome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Syndrome is another one of those ones. Yeah.
But I don't even know if it was released in English.
No, I don't think it was. Like a lot of this early stuff either was not even translated or didn't make its way over here. Like there's some stuff that like got European release, but like America did not get anything until Killer 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Killer 7 and No More Heroes like defined Suda's fan base over here. And since then he's been like famous for being that quirky game dev guy.
Yeah, well, people get the wrong impression of him.
Yeah, I think so too.
The quirky game. Like, he doesn't just make quirky action games, but I can't really blame them too much.
Yeah, because those games were never came out over here. Like I would have gladly played them if they were ever re-released, but a lot of them never were. Like I've only just now bought Flower, Sun, and Rain. Well, I bought it like a long time ago, but I still have not played it. But I only just now got around to like getting a hold of that game so I could play it, you know? And it just. Whew.
Well, Flower, Sun, and Rain, it's like No More Heroes. Well, it's like Travis Strikes Again.
Yeah,
it starts off really simple, but then the plot veers off to.
I'm told it's like Majora's Mask. Is that true?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Yeah. I know a little bit about it. It has something to do with like stopping a terrorist attack or something. Oh, whatever. I'll have to play it. I'll be sure to make a video on that one. But does that tie into Travis Strikes Again at all?
It does.
Yeah.
But not directly.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is very vague. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It ties into a character in Travis Strikes Again who helps Travis out a lot.
Oh, that guy? Yeah. Kimura?
Kimura, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Mm-hmm.
But I said too much. Well,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I already knew that, so it's not a big deal. It's very difficult to spoil Suda games anyway. You like because they're just so out there anyway. It just kind of you'll never see anything coming, even if like you're aware of it. You know, like you can say that like Travis wants to fuck Sylvia and No More Heroes 1, but you don't know what that actually means and like how interesting that actually is, you know, and how it's like presented. That makes it interesting. Like you can be spoiled on these games and still have like a great time, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't explain the ending to Killer 7 because it's just so convoluted. Like we were just having that we had that conversation about like the elevator pitching that game. Like how would you do it? Like you can't. It's just too complicated.
Well, I can't. I played it like 3 times. I can still barely understand it.
Yeah. Like that's
I get the general plot of it, but still, there's just so many little intricate things here and there.
Yeah. I understand Killer 7 quite well. There's still what I would do to understand Killer 7 is like look up all the specific scenes on YouTube and then like go down to the comment section and you're gonna find someone explaining it. Like for the longest time, I did not understand the Mahjong scene. You know that scene where like in the chapter 2 where the guys are playing Mahjong around the table and they're calling each other like dogs and monkeys and then like they end it by shooting each other.
Yeah.
I did not understand what that was supposed to mean at all for like the longest time. But then like I looked at a comment section for that scene, and then like it was explained to me like it's some elaborate metaphor about how like politics about like how someone made some basic mistake in Mahjong, which fucked over someone else, which resulted in them shooting each other, which is like a metaphor for how like politics can like can like just completely go downhill like in the blink of an eye, like just break down that way.
Yeah, the smallest mistake can
that's what it was supposed to mean.
Let's bring a coffee on the nuclear strike codes and blowing someone up.
It's like that. The whole game is filled with stuff like that, and there's still like you have to understand Killer 7. You have to know like so much bullshit about like the relationship between the U.S., Japan, like Japanese history, culture, politics. It's a very, very complex game to understand. Like even if you're well versed in this stuff, it takes a lot of
That's only 30% of the plot too.
That's another problem. That's the problem I'm facing now, actually. Because I do casually watch these cutscenes and try to make more and more sense of it. As a hobby, because it's just that engaging of a game, right? Like I'm playing through it again now, and I'm enjoying it. It's a great game. Understanding this game is like, learning to understand this game is like an experience in and of itself. It is just so engaging. What was I getting at? What were we talking about?
I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot too. It's about Killer 7. I wish I could rewind the video, but anyway.
I think we were talking about Shadows of the Damned.
Well, it was about Killer 7. Something about the plot. Man, what was it? I was getting at something. Well, anyway, Killer 7, understanding it takes a lot of effort, but I think it's worth it. Like it has possibly. A lot of people say Metal Gear Solid 2 has the most complex political commentary of all time. I disagree with that. I think Killer 7 is far, far, far superior in like pretty much every way. You know what I mean? Because Killer 7 is like less ham-fisted and covers more topics and is more engaging. Like Metal Gear Solid 2 just has you like listening to these cutscenes for like hours on end, while like Killer 7 sort of presents it in like a more digestible way and like does more stuff with it, like and covers, shows how these things can affect a wide variety of people.
One of the have you heard of this game called Y2K?
No, I don't think so.
It's called It's spelled Yiik. Oh, the
Yik, that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I just made a video bitching about that. The developer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did
Like,
you guys see that? Yeah, when I ranted at this guy. Yeah.
One of the things that annoys me is that how people don't see how video games can be an art form.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's the best art form because it's interactive. So
I
it's
wouldn't
more
call it the best. Like it's different. Like there's no best art form, but yeah. Did I? There's two problems with this. Like one thing, non-gamers will always dismiss video games in order to make themselves look more important than they actually are. You know, like people like Roger Ebert who like insisted that video games would never be art. You know, like that. People who never played video games, like you have people like that, like prominent people who don't know the first thing about video games. They're always going to like dismiss video games because it's such a young art form, and they just don't understand it. They don't understand how like we can relate to stuff like Travis Strikes Again, like Ocarina of Time, like No More Heroes, Metal Gear Solid to a certain extent. Like they don't understand what makes people relate to these games because they've never played them or fallen in love with them themselves, I should say. Because I think Roger Ebert like played a handful of video games in his life. Like I think he like went to an arcade and played like Double Dragon after the Wizard came out or something like that. uh, just, but
well, that's like watching the Transformers, the Michael Bay Transformers movies, and saying that movies can't be art because those movies aren't very don't tell good stories or whatever.
yeah. Like they simplify like they just don't understand what like a good video game actually is because they've never experienced it. They don't have the knowledge to really explain this kind of thing, you know, like and then they just sort of dismiss it as a result. And on the other end of the coin, you have gamers who play the games, who just consume them and don't really think about them at all. They just want to have a good time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you can look at a painting and like appreciate it for being beautiful, but you can't like you may not understand just what makes it such a compelling piece of art, right? Like what makes the Mona Lisa the greatest thing, the most famous painting in the world? Like I imagine most people would not be able to tell you, right? It's like that with games, right? Where people just don't understand what makes certain games better than others, and that's why we get situations like this where people sort of see Travis Strikes Again, write it off for ridiculous reasons, and then people like us who really appreciate the game and talk about how great it is, kind of struggle explaining it to people.
That's why I brought up this topic because a lot of these games, the games that we're talking about, are perfect examples of how the medium of video games can be used to express these interesting ideas.
Yeah, unique ideas that are distinct from other other mediums, I should say. Since it's like interactive, that gives it like gives it more involvement with the plot. It's different.
It's not like a lot of games that are praised for their story, but you can get the exact same experience from just watching a movie.
Yeah. That's my problem with like The Last of Us. Like it's not popular. Well, it can't compete. It puts all this effort into like the cutscenes and the visuals and like the set pieces with all of that. It's like stuff that like a movie would do infinitely better. Well, something like Majora's Mask, like that's the big example I keep going back to because that game is just really like that could not be replicated in a movie, right? Like figuring out what these people's schedules are, going around, like seeing how they suffer as time goes on, like learning more about the 3-day cycle, like learning how everything fits together. Like that would not be possible in a movie. You know, that would not come across in the same way. And that's why that game is so special.
Yeah. When I first played the first No More Heroes game, I just seen it at I just looked at it at face value, like most other people did.
Yeah, yeah. I think
I didn't like only through my well, I think like second playthrough, I actually started to really think about all the things and ideas that I presented.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I think that's that way for most people when it comes to this kind of thing. You know, like I didn't. Today I'll talk about like how Ocarina of Time is like, this great example of storytelling where your character grows up and takes on more responsibilities, and it's sort of a good metaphor for like, growing up as a whole, right? Because like it happens suddenly, you don't know what to expect, and things are different when you're like, you know what I mean. Like that was not something I was thinking about when I first played the game, right? For me personally, when I first played No More Heroes, I actually did take in a lot of the symbolism, right? Like, and a lot of the writing, and like really was hit hard by some of the things they presented about like Travis's sexuality and like his aggressively going after his goals and stuff like that. Like that stuff was just like really impactful for me, like right off the bat, and I still think about that to this day.
One of the interesting things I find about Travis is how he learns how to fight and where he gets his weapon from. He learns his wrestling moves from watching VHS tapes. This is
Supposedly, according to the lore, I'm not sure, they don't explain this in game, but apparently Travis used to be a professional wrestler in Mexico, but they don't really like explain that or show it at all. So I'm not really sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to look into that.
Yeah. It was in like the manual or something like that. Like the manual is canon. Like that, the manual is the reason we knew like Gene was had a relationship with Travis. So the manual I think could be canon, but we'll have to see where it goes or whether they acknowledge it at all. Like that seems to be the justification for like the whole wrestling moves and stuff like that. He bought the lightsaber off of eBay. They don't say that in the game either, do they?
Well, they say in an online auction.
Yeah, online auction site. They don't specifically say eBay, but like an eBay like site. I'm sorry, were you saying something?
No.
Okay, so yeah, he buys it off eBay, and then he goes out and decides to become an assassin with it, and like it's an actual functioning weapon, and he's able to do this like right off the bat. Like, it's so ridiculous. I love it. It's the best thing ever. I love this game so much.
Like Travis is just copying everything he sees inside his anime and wrestling moves.
Yeah. That's the implication, right? That like he's doing this in order to live out his fantasies that he gets from his anime, right? Like there's a scene, like one of the things that aren't outright stated in the original No More Heroes is how much of a hypocrite Travis actually is when like it comes to this sort of thing. Like there's a scene, there's a couple of times in this game where Travis is fighting someone, they do something, he makes fun of them for it, and it's something that he himself does all the time. Like when he's fighting Shinobu, he mocks her for watching too many samurai movies when like he clearly does as well.
Look at what's on his shirt.
His shirt? What's on his shirt?
Those anime characters.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I tend to change my shirt, so I don't really remember what Travis's typical look is like. Like for the longest time, I thought like his glasses were a color shade than they actually were, because like apparently I changed them early on in my first playthrough, and then like went through a bunch of new game pluses with them. So like I had this completely wrong impression of him. So yeah. Again, the character can look however you want. So like in Travis Strikes Again, I went through the entire thing wearing what was I wearing? I think it was either a Fury shirt or some other indie game. I want to say it was it I don't think it was Shovel Knight. Did I ever get the Zelda shirt? I honestly don't remember. It was some indie game that I really like. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. One of my problems with Travis Strikes Again is like the indie games are in the game, but not really. They're just shirts you won't even like see in the actual. Like, what is up with that? That's just.
Yeah, there's supposed to be actual worlds you go through at first.
Yeah. So they had to change that for whatever reason. That's really disappointing. Yeah.
I don't think they had enough time to actually implement that.
Yeah, I wish they did take the time, or maybe they continue the Travis Strikes Again line of games and continue to like do that, because I was definitely disappointed by that aspect of it. Like, I thought they would have more involvement with the plot. Like, we were all talking about like what indie games, like early on they seemed to imply that they would have like an actual sort of like how the Hotline Miami characters are actually involved in the game near the end, you know. But like they're the only ones that do, and that was kind of disappointing. I was really looking forward to like I thought it was going to be a crossover between indie games like at first, but that didn't happen.
I guess that's the impression everyone got.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's the big thing about this game. Like, its marketing was messed up from the beginning. Like, from the very instant it was announced. Like, you had that translator Kun. Do you remember him? Like, when Suda went off on stage at the Switch event to like talk about this game, and then like he started talking about like all this stuff, and like the translator could not understand what he was saying. So he was just like wrestling
So it was bad luck.
Yeah, it was just terrible. And like nobody knew what this game was. Like, it contributed to why everybody thought this was No More Heroes 3, because Suda outright said it wasn't from the very beginning. But like we saw Travis, we saw Suda, we knew it was going to be a new No More Heroes game, but like everybody just started calling it No More Heroes 3, and it sort of like erupted into this thing, you know? Where people were disappointed.
Grasshopper just has a history of bad marketing for their games.
Yeah. Suda is like the worst when it comes like actually promoting his games. Like, it's probably not his fault. Like, it's like, well, for one thing, it's the fans and getting like worked up over. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be blaming fans for this, but this is a good example. Like, that Travis Strikes Again live stream, right? There was a live stream before the game came out, where like there was a bunch of people in there like going like Travis for Smash, Travis for Smash, Travis for Smash, and then they were like, hey guys, Travis isn't coming to Smash, and then they were like, they left because like that's all they cared about. I just it was just ridiculous. I don't know, like, how do you deal with those kind of people? You know, I just. Yeah. You would rather see Travis in Smash than like actually play the new game with Travis in it. Like, come on. Like, yeah, this is a bit of an aside, but I'm getting really sick of people getting up in arms about Smash rosters and like potential characters that are coming to Smash. Like, who cares? Like, just let it happen. Like, don't let it interfere.
Sakurai spoils his fans.
Yeah,
he goes above and beyond with everything.
Yeah, and like they're unpleasable. They really are. Like, you just have to like take a step back and realize that these people are never going to like let up. You know, they're always going to like demand more and more shit. You know, like I would never demand Sakurai to do something like reinvent Smash Ultimate. You know, like do what I wanted to do and like add in a bunch of new modes and like new single player content, like whatever. He doesn't have to do like it just. I don't like people making these kind of demands of developers. It's just unreasonable, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowing the developer to be creative and like try new things and go outside the box, you know? Like Like look at how badly Kid Icarus Uprising was treated when it first came out. Like so many people insisted it was like this terrible, unplayable game. Like Jim Sterling will still refer to it as like one of the worst playing games, one of the worst games he's ever played in his life, and it isn't.
I don't think people should take Jim Sterling too seriously.
Oh, definitely not. Like, fuck Jim Sterling. He has the worst taste. Like, yeah, I don't watch him at all, but like I tuned into his Sekiro review to see what like Jim Sterling. He's like the only SJW personality that I have any history with. So like I went on his channel to see what his take on the whole Sekiro difficulty debacle was, and like he basically said that like Sekiro wasn't, he didn't like Sekiro, and like he went on to say that like Bloodborne is one of his favorite games of all time, and I was just like, really? Bloodborne? Really? I don't know. Like, okay, there's this trend, right, among PlayStation fans to like overhype literally everything that comes out on their platform. Like, it's kind of bizarre. Like, last year it was God of War. The year before that it was Horizon Zero Dawn and like Nier Automata. Like, it just the couple of years before that it was like Bloodborne, and it's just so frustrating, right? These aren't your favorite games of all time. They haven't been out that long. It just
people want to be part of the in crowd.
Yeah. Like Bloodborne, Dark Souls in general seems to have this like if you play those games, you're able to like present yourself as like a hardcore gamer, and so like your credibility, like you can use that as an example of your credibility. Like, you know why every critic ever refers to all of their favorite games as being referring to all the hardest games as being like, it's just like Dark Souls. They're trying to establish credibility, and it's just Sekiro. The thing about Sekiro, how should I put this? No, I mentioned this in another video. It doesn't matter. The thing about Jim Sterling is that like I don't think he actually likes video games. I feel that way about like a ton of game journalists, where they just don't feel like, to me, that they actually enjoy playing video games. Like, to them, it's just a job. You know?
Yeah, well, a lot of them you couldn't get jobs as regular journalists, so they switched to a game journalist.
Yep. A lot of them are like that. Mm-hmm. You need more of a background in journalism than you do in gaming to get like a job in the gaming industry. Like, I looked at like the requirements to like join IGN at one point, and like you need like a degree, I think, in journalism, something like that, or like a history, like a making YouTube videos or something like that. I don't remember. It was years ago, but like, you know, you've seen what IGN is like, right? Like, there's no way that those people play video games for fun, you know?
They're just with a lot of people, a lot of gaming YouTubers and a lot of the big personalities.
Yeah. Like,
at least that's how I see it.
I think all of the big personalities don't really like video games. Like, every single one. Like, I just see all these nonsensical.
DSP.
DSP. Yeah, DSP is like okay, the thing about DSP is that like I don't think he's any different than major YouTubers. He's just way more upfront about it, way more honest. Like, he will tell you everything that's going on in his life. You know, the problems with being a YouTuber, and like the problems with monetization, and how much he needs people to donate to him to survive and stuff like that. That is the life of other YouTubers. Like, they just don't come out and admit it all that often. Like, DSP just does. Like, that's the only thing that sets him apart from like everyone else. Like, Angry Joe, just compare his Cuphead playthrough to like DSP. I actually never saw DSP's playthrough of Cuphead. I need to now that I played it. But yeah, Angry Joe, I saw him play Cuphead on his stream. Well, I watched a re-upload of that, and like, he was terrible. Like he didn't seem like he was having fun with it, and yet he gave that game like a 10 out of 10. I just it was clearly pandering to what was expected of him from his audience. Like I couldn't even find like a video of him finishing the game. Like I'm skeptical he could even finish it with his level of skill.
Well, it's just a job to a lot of people now.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Like
ever since he started making money off YouTube.
Yeah, it's a way to make money. It's not like out of personal interest or anything like that. Like there are games that Angry Joe will shove on like his top 10 games of the year list that we know he hasn't beaten. You know, like he won't cover certain major gaming controversies. He like go after certain developers. Like he has an extremely casual taste in games. Even back in the day, let's see where Dragon's Dogma, right? Like I started playing Dragon's Dogma on Switch a couple of days ago, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I knew that Angry Joe uploaded a video about that like several years ago. So I was just like, well, I'm playing the game. I'm kind of curious as to what Angry Joe has to say about this game. So I booted it up, and it was just this really terribly presented video about like this game, and I thought it didn't go into a lot of depth about what made the game good, and it kind of missed the point on what made the game bad or the game's serious issues. Have you played Dragon's Dogma yet?
It's on my to get list.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing it now, and I can tell you right now, I love it, but boy, is it tedious. Like probably one of the most tedious games I've ever played. It's like, you know how like certain people will go on message boards and pretend that like Breath of the Wild has like an empty open world that has like nothing to do with it.
I've seen that.
Yeah. That's what Dragon's Dogma is. Like you're basically just wandering around trying to find a quest, trying to find something to do, trying to like fight these guys, trying to like get better equipment, trying to like trigger the next story event, trying to like figure out what you're supposed to do. A lot of it's very strange. Like it's a grind, a very, very large grind from the very beginning, but it's very, very rewarding at the same time. Like when you get like I triggered this boss fight with this giant Hydra completely by accident, and like it was like amazing when I did that. It was so much fun. So much fun. But like to get there and like everything that happened after that, it's so tedious. It's like a game of really high highs and then like really severe lows.
Speaking of Dragon's Dogma, there's a crossover with Travis Strikes Again as well.
Yeah, I heard that, but I couldn't find it. Like I was looking through the menu, like trying to find what the whole Travis thing was about, and I couldn't find him. Like maybe I should have looked it up, but like I didn't see him when I booted it up.
Yeah, there are buddy characters in the game. There's one that looks like Travis. He's got the faux hawk and the scar.
Yeah, okay. So I'll have to look, keep an eye out for him. There are lots of cool pawns in the game. I saw a Zelda one that looked really cool. I wanted to enlist her, but she was too high level. I'm sure there are lots of cool pawns. Like this game does a lot to like really distinguish itself from other action RPGs like it. I'm really digging it actually, in spite of all of its problems. And then like Angry Joe gave it like a 7 out of 10. Like it has problems, sure, but it's like so much better than games he's given like 10 out of 10 scores to. You know, like Skyrim, Assassin's Creed 3, The Witcher 3. I'm sure.
I remember playing Assassin's Creed 3 when it came out. I just found it to be pretty boring.
Yeah, it's so boring. Like I played it a couple of years. I bought it like for like $5 at a GameStop in like I want to say like 2016, 2017. Yeah, it was before Breath of the Wild came out, definitely. 2016, right? I was playing through this game, and I'm a bit. I was at one point really into like American history, so I was playing this game, and like I was just. It is so generic and so uninspired. Like anyone who's even vaguely aware of like American history will see it's just very easy. there's just nothing all that complex about it. Like, ooh, those ancient, those historical figures you read about, there's more to them than meets the eye. And then like it's just stupid shit like ooh, Washington wasn't that great of a general and stuff like that. And they could have implemented that so much better into the story than what they did. You know, like into the gameplay. I just the game is just not very much fun to play.
Okay, we got way off topic.
Yeah, we did.
But one rant leads to another.
Yeah. Like again, this goes back into what we need to talk about more. I think is that like these kind of games like Travis Strikes Again, Suda51. These games are better than the major AAA releases, like indisputably, right? But people just don't really understand that because the marketing behind them, the way they're presented, the visuals, just how mainstream they are, how they pander to like the largest possible demographic, like. That's just how it goes. Like Suda51 games are super, super niche and they're kind of disrespected because of that.
Yeah, I think the industry needs more games like this.
Yeah, definitely. Like they need more creative people. They need more smaller teams. They need more people trying something different. Like this is the main problem with like PS3, PS4, and Xbox One, right? Like every game feels like it wants to be the same exact thing. Like they're trying to do these always online games. They're trying to like make MMOs. They're trying to make stuff like shove in create something that will be like very microtransaction friendly. They're trying to do all this stuff, and that's just something. No one is trying to do what Suda does and trying to make just unique, interesting games that only he could have made. That's one of the things I like about Dragon's Dogma, by the way, is that like it does feel a lot different than like other generic open world RPGs, right? Like it is very different than Skyrim. Like every game wants to be Skyrim, but like Dragon's Dogma sort of improves on the idea. Like it has so much better combat and it's so much more fun.
Yeah, I have to get to Dragon's Dogma. My backlog is extremely large right now.
Oh yeah, mine is ridiculous. Like I genuinely don't know whether I'll be able to beat all my games in my lifetime. Like I just don't think I'll be able to do it. There's just so many games that are like over 60 hours, right? That eat up like weeks of time when like I have other things to do, right? Like I play all these games, but like I have my own things to do, like I just don't play games like I used to, unfortunately. Yeah, generally I just keep getting stuck on like an RPG like this for like weeks, and then like my backlog just blows up, and then like I just let's see. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about when it came to Suda51? I guess we could talk a little bit about the Sudaverse and where things are looking for the future. I think we touched on this a little bit. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do this live stream now before E3, because I wanted to speculate with you on this about where exactly we expect the series to be going forward from this point onward. Personally, Travis Strikes Again to me seems to be saying that like Suda is done with AAA development. He's going back to his roots. He's making the games he wants to make, and that's a good thing. I feel like, and that is going to result in this multi-crossover universe with like all these characters colliding and fighting over something. Like what that something is kind of vague. Like we don't even know who all is involved at this point in time. But like it seems to be like all the No More Heroes characters are like teaming up, and the Killer Seven is doing something to like that wants Travis to be dead for some reason. What do you?
Smith Syndicate versus Travis Touchdown.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to happen. It seems like is that what like No More Heroes 3 is going to be? Like all the bosses are just going to be members of the Killer Seven. That would be great, but I don't know. Like I would like some new characters in there too.
How does the Killer 7 even work now?
Since yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like I touched on this when that video dropped, when like the Day 7 update dropped, and they revealed Dan Smith sent Batman after Travis touched. Like it doesn't make any sense with the timeline for Killer 7 because like we know after the Smiths were gone after the events of Killer 7, right? Garcian just sort of Garcian sort of awoke as a mirror and like did what he had to do to stay true to his values or whatever. Like again, it's Killer 7 stuff, so it's very confusing. But Amir
Garcian was originally a mirror, but he was pretty much raised to be a killer. So he went out and killed the Smith Syndicate and absorbed their personalities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's about what happened. Pretty much. I think it's a bit more complicated than that. I think he has like some crazy powers or something like that. I don't really okay, so shit, where was I? Yeah, so that means like Dan's presence in Travis Strikes Again seems to apply that it's taking place before that happened, before like Amir awakens and realizes that like the Killer 7 were dead all along, or that like he's just pretending to be there, or whatever the fuck happened in that ending. Amir realizes after that like doesn't utilize them anymore, and he just sort of goes in the final level. He's just himself, and he kills or spares this guy. Well, basically what this means is like Dan Smith should not exist if this takes place after Killer 7. So the implication is that like has to take place. Travis Strikes Again takes place before or during Killer 7, or perhaps I've heard this speculated too that this might take place in a different timeline.
Yeah, in Killer 7 there are two different endings. Where one Japan is destroyed and one Japan still exists.
Yeah. That's another thing that sticks out to me because Travis goes to Japan and Travis Strikes Again.
Yeah, so it's in the other ending then.
Yeah. It can't be. It doesn't mesh with the Killer 7 timeline at all. And that was the thing that like stuck out to me as a fan is that like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but it's awesome.
So after Killer 7, the Smith Syndicate still existed, but just without Garcia. Because you see Harmon and Kun Man inside.
Well, Harmon is like kind of above the other members. You know, that's why his personality is like so different. You know, like he's a Garcian like bows before him and like takes orders from him and stuff like that. Like he the situation in which he was killed was different or whatever. Because like he was the principal of the school that like handled Amir, right? It's confusing, yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit different in Harmon's case. He's supposed to embody like the virtues of the West, while like Kunman is supposed to be like the values of the East. So like the eternal struggle is supposed to like symbolize the constant struggle between like Eastern and Western values. So like just Harmon fighting Kunman at the end, all that means is like things will always continue as they always have been, essentially. Things don't change. The world does not change. All it does is turn. So, Killer 7. I think. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, continue.
Yeah, yeah. So I think No More Heroes 3, the Killer 7 are going to be a major players in whatever is announced next. We just don't know what that is, what that's going to be, uh, how much of a problem that's what the antagonists are, because Travis Strikes Again introduces a ton of new antagonists too near the end, right? They just sort of you have like aliens, you have like the superhero, you have like these Order of the Emerald Knight. Like there seems to be a lot of things that Travis is going up against in the next game.
I just have to say, that segment with Mr. Black Hole and Mr. Wormhole was the best part in Travis.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're so out there. I loved it. They're so funny. I wouldn't say it's my favorite part, but I really liked it. Yeah. Yeah, my assumption, and this is going to be, this is my idea. No More Heroes 3 is going to begin with Travis fighting Death Metal Jr. by the pool, and then like it's going to go into like explaining, well, not really explaining, but going into more depth about what exactly is going on here. Like we're going to learn who these characters are, why Travis is fighting them, what's going on in the world at large, what the crossover is going to be like. The Killer 7 are going to be involved. I'm sure Mondo is coming back. Maybe I'm thinking Bad Girl and Badman might come back as well. I don't know. Like the implication I got from that last DLC is that they're just gonna fuck off after the end of this game. You know, like I think it's gonna be Shinobu and Henry being the supporting protagonist, or Shinobu being a primary protagonist in No More Heroes 3. Because like the orphanage was built up, and like they spent a lot of time like establishing what Shinobu's been doing since No More Heroes 2, and I really like that. I said that on stream. It was great.
Yeah, it's cool to see how much she's grown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's a big girl now. Shinobu. Yeah. I've heard some people don't like her, but I've always been fond of her. Like she's not my favorite boss. I kind of wish that like some other characters were spared as well, but like Bad Girl came back. At this point, like a lot of these characters gonna come back. You just know they are. Like I don't know, they brought Bad Girl back for like they're gonna bring more characters back. I hope they bring back Holly Summers, but I'm not sure how likely that is. I love Holly Summers. I don't know. Jean is probably the big one that I think everyone is pretty convinced is going to come back, or at least might already be back if Jean the cat is any indication. Yeah, we're gonna have to see what this results in, because like at this point it could be anything. Like again, it might not even be No More Heroes 3. It might be Shadows of the Dam 2 first, or the port or whatever it is.
Do you think Jean, the cat, and the person might be the same?
Yeah. Because Jean the cat didn't talk in the first 2 games, and now suddenly she's like talking and behaving exactly like Genius. No, like I think her spirit is like possessing that cat or some shit. Like that I heard that like happened in some other Suda game. So I think that's that's the theory I'm going with right now.
That's something that needs to be explained.
Yeah. That bullshit comes out of nowhere. It's hilarious, but like really a talking cat.
What's really funny is how cute she is, but how filthy her mouth is.
Yeah, she's such a bitch. I love it. She's like my favorite character in Travis Strikes Again. And it seems to like be implying there are indications that like there's a lot more to her than there has been in the past. Like there's this scene where like she goes to bed with Travis, and like they're at a hotel or something like that, and like they fall asleep, and like Jean falls asleep, and like the dialogue indicates that like she's thinking about her mother, which is really weird for a cat to be like worried about her mother, right? But it is perfectly in character for Jean the assassin, whose mother was like fucked over by Travis's father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes perfect sense to me. So that was why Gene the Assassin became an assassin, was to take revenge on Travis. Well, this is only something you'd be aware of if you like fast forward, actually slow down the dialogue. But like she does say this, like Travis's father. Well, Gene's. This is all really confusing, but like, yeah, they are half siblings. Travis's father fucked over Gene's mother and lived with Travis's mother, and then like Gene killed them both for revenge, and that's Gene's motivation in No More Heroes 1.
Oh, there's also something interesting too.
Yeah.
In the final level of CIA, when Travis goes to the CIA, there's actually a clone of him.
Oh yeah. That's another thing I completely overlooked. Like that's something. There is so much in this game that like I just kind of ignored. I was too busy like reading through like the manuals, like manuals for the video games and stuff like that. But yeah. Travis goes there and kills these people, and I'm just not really sure how that's going to tie into the next game.
So does the CIA have a clone of him now? Because to go to Mars, he makes a clone of a clone.
Yeah, the whole Mars thing. I don't even know what to think about that. I saw that and I was just like, this is ridiculous. I have not played through that segment again. I probably need to, because like it's so out there. I think it's actually probably a very important moment for Travis's character, because like he could just stay on that planet and just do whatever the fuck he wants, but like he chooses to go back. I don't know. I think that's significant in some way, but I don't really understand it. I don't pretend to understand it.
And in TSA, there's a lot of small details that you're gonna miss if you don't play over them.
Yeah. There's lots of subtle details in this game. The game is really good at that. Yeah.
There's one thing I never understood the significance of, and that's when Travis meets that one girl that has Matthew on her shirt.
Yeah.
And, they played against in the Unreal tournament.
Yeah.
Back in like 2003 or so.
Uh-huh.
Like, what's the significance of that?
I have no idea. It has some kind of significance, I'm sure. I think she might be a character from some of those Suda game. I think I was told that. Definitely. Again, this is the thing with Suda games. It's not like they're so niche that like nobody is like mapping this out. This is like completely uncharted territory. Like you can't just Google this and find an explanation for all of it. You have to like research it yourself. So yeah, for that I have no idea. I have no idea. You gotta
go through the games, take a bunch of notes.
Yeah, go through all the games, take a bunch of notes, all these concepts. Remnant Sykes, you got to talk about that. You have to talk about like. There's something called like a silver eye or something like that. I don't know what that is. What it's all about. Like supposedly people were talking about this. Like people were like speculating that like Travis has one, and that's why everyone was like all these crazy ass things were coming at him in like the final DLC chapter. Like I've heard that before.
There's also Silverface, who I heard that the one guy with the deep voice in the opening OP for Killer Marathon, that's the same voice you hear from the Silver Case.
Oh, really? Yeah. Suda loves bringing back all these old voice actors. Like, I have never seen someone so dedicated to getting all of the old voice actors back for, like, everything. Like, he got Bad Girl out of retirement for this. He got, like, Dan Smith to come back. He got, like, Robin Atkins Downs to come back. Like, it's just, like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I would not be surprised to hear that, because Suda is very, very serious about that. Like, I think, oh, no, never mind. That might not mean anything.
What is it?
No, nothing. It was about Jean again. Like, I think the voice actress for Jean the cat is, I thought it might have been the same person, so I looked it up, but I don't think it was. I don't know. Like, I guess it might not always be possible to get the voice actors back. Like, is the voice actor for Harmon Smith still alive? Do you know?
I don't.
Yeah. That is like the big thing that like would make No More Heroes 3 like the GOAT for me is that like Travis versus Harmon Smith. That would be great. But like he has to have his original voice. That's mandatory.
The Killer 7 killed Travis and he has a new personality.
Yeah, that's on the table, man. Or like maybe the old theory that like Travis Bell and Travis Touchdown are the same person. But like I think that's too obvious for Suda. People were like speculating that for years, right?
Yeah, but all because they have the same name.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it kind of fits, right? Like Travis Bell was killed by the Smiths, like exactly like.
Yeah, well, Samuel Mondo from Far Sun and Rain, and Mondo from Curious Desert both have the same name.
Oh yeah. It might mean something. It might not. I don't know. Like it's kind of. It's hard to tell with these things.
It could just be made as Suda51.
Yeah, that's probably it. Like I tend to use a lot of Japanese names that I like. It's just a tendency if like you're not familiar with the language and like the culture, like you can't come up with like more obscure names, you know. So you just end up like with the same bunch of names. I don't know.
Like Smith.
Yeah, Smith.
There's also a band called the Smiths that Suda got the name from. There's also a song from that band called Big Mouth Strikes Back. Big Mouth Strikes Again. Where you got the name for TSA from.
Yeah, so are there any directions you personally would want to see the next No More Heroes game go in, or the next Suda project?
Well, I think it's gonna all tie into Yahiri or Kamuri, whatever the guy's name is, with the silver eye.
Yeah.
Because even somebody is the Suda game. But I don't know exactly what direction we're going. Because you can't predict what Suda's going to do.
Yeah, definitely not. Like it's impossible. Like I couldn't even predict what was going to happen in between like the visual novel segments. It was just all over the place in like a really good way.
Like the story starts off one way, it goes completely to the left and ends up somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm like kind of skeptical of whether the next project in the Sudaverse is going to be No More Heroes 3. Like it might be something that's completely unannounced. It might be like a smaller project. It might be Shadows of the Damned. I don't know. Like we're not going to know until E3, I think. Suda said he's going to elaborate more on what's going on then. So yeah, we're going to have to get together then and talk about that at E3, after E3, or during E3, perhaps. So I think that's everything we had to talk about, right? I think we covered everything. We talked about like Travis Strikes Again. We talked about like the Sudaverse. We talked about like some of the other games. Are we forgetting anything, or should we call it a night?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it was nice talking to you, man.
Okay, you too. See ya.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely need to talk about the Sudaverse when more stuff gets announced, huh? All right. So that's a wrap. that is the Sudaverse stream. So we'll be talking more about Suda51 as time goes on. E3 is coming up. We're looking forward to that. I am very interested in seeing just what the next game in the series has to bring. I'm very, very excited. We're going to see just what happens next.